We have the power to choose moment by moment who and how we want to be in the world. So let's let go of a victim mentality. Hey, my lions, my name is Sam, and on this channel, we talk about personal development, mindset, motivation, and manifestation. Basically, I want us to unleash our inner lion so that we can achieve the life of our dreams. In today's video, I want to talk about victim mentality. And what is victim mentality? Victim mentality is when you think you have no control over any life circumstances. You think that you have bad luck and you blame everything and everyone around you for all of the negativity in your life, and you never take any fault of your own. Victim mentality usually stems from trauma or anxiety or even distress from past experiences. People who suffer from victim mentality usually dwell so heavily on their past experiences, and they use it to define their persona and their actions and their behaviors. Some people even use victim mentality to gain sympathy from others, thinking that it's going to get them extra special attention. When you live in a victim mentality, it usually creates a lot of suffering and pain and anger and resentment. It can create guilt and depression and lead to panic attacks. People who live in victim mentality usually tend to attract so many unwanted situations in their life. People who live in victim mentality usually suffer from a very low self-esteem, and they usually tend to attract a lot of unwanted situations into their life, which causes them to feel more and more worthless. And that causes more and more suffering. They usually fail a lot and they never ever learn from their mistakes. Instead, they blame everyone else, including God or their parents or the situation itself or the world, but it's never themselves. They never take accountability for their own actions and behaviors. So they end up just living their life on this never-ending hamster wheel that is just creating more and more and more momentum of negativity and fear and unwanted life circumstances. And unfortunately, they are usually so close-minded that they refuse to listen or learn anything new that can help them. They don't realize that all they need to do is just leap, to jump, to stop that never-ending hamster wheel. They live in so much fear and they're afraid of the uncertainty and especially change. So they end up settling, and that in itself creates more suffering. The reason I know this is because I lived in victim mentality for the majority of my life. I dwelled on every bad experience that happened to me. I lived running on that hamster wheel, and I could not jump off because the momentum was just too great. Honestly, it took me completely crashing and hitting rock bottom. Finally, wake up and change. If you've watched my other videos, y'all know that I've suffered from a lot of childhood trauma. Some at this moment I don't even talk about because I'm still healing from it, and there is no reason for me to open up those stitches. They are still healing. That being said, I let all the past trauma define my persona and my actions and my behaviors. I believed to the very, very core that I was worthless, an object that was just meant to be used and abused. And that no matter what I did, I couldn't change it. And that's exactly what I created. I attracted more unwanted situations in my life. I attracted so many jobs that I hated. I attracted car accidents almost every single year. I attracted a lot of people who just walked all over me and used me, and because they knew that I would just give, and they just took from me. And when I did get good things in my life, I usually sabotaged them because I believed so deep down that I did not deserve good things. Inevitably, a lot of the good things that I had started getting taken away from me. And I lived in this negative feedback loop for so long. And I never took responsibility for any of it. I just blamed and blamed and blamed and blamed everything and everyone else but myself. And I was so close-minded. I would get so angry if anybody had any kind of opinion on how I should live my life or what I should start doing or how I should act or how I should feel. I would be so close-minded. I'd just be like, that's dumb. And I would not listen. I would not listen to anybody. Like I said, it took me hitting rock bottom to finally say, okay, enough is enough. So I found a way to change. And that was realizing that I was living in victim mentality. So I had to shift my victim mentality into survivor mentality, because we really do have the power to choose how and who we want to be in this world. To get down to it, these are the steps that I have created for myself to keep me from falling back into victim mentality, but also what I've learned throughout the years from books and resources online, from podcasts to YouTube videos, and also from my degree reading psychology books. So I'm gonna go ahead and share those with you, but also so I can watch this video and make sure that I'm also not falling back into victim mentality. Okay, so number one, taking accountability for your actions. I know it's so hard to believe that you are the reason that you're experiencing bad things in your life, but you have to start waking up and realizing that it is absolutely true. For myself, when I was young, I had no control over those bad experiences in my life, but I do now. I experienced a whole bunch of bad things in my past. It was my fault for living in them and dwelling in them so deeply that I could not let go and move on and move forward with my life. I created the actions, and I am the one who chose all the actions and decisions and behaviors of how I lived my life after the past experiences. Yes, I chose to live in a victim mentality. I chose to become negative and to feel worthless. Once I started to realize that it was me all this time who created such a horrible life for myself after those past experiences, it finally helped me see clearly that I have the power to choose. I can choose now to let go of my past and be happy because I deserve it, because I am not worthless. I have the power to choose not to be worthless. Although I shouldn't have gone through what I went through as a child, those things don't define me. Start realizing the decisions and the actions and everything that you're thinking and feeling, you are attracted to yourself. It's called the law of attraction, right? Likes attract likes. It's the universal law. So if you're constantly being negative, constantly feeling worthless, constantly feeling down, then you're going to attract the same unwanted life circumstances. I talked about the Newtonian mindset in one of my other videos, and it's called the cause and effect. See, a lot of us live in that cause and effect. We choose. And notice how I say choose to believe that your past experiences define who you are and your actions and your behaviors. Just because something bad happened to you does not make you worthless. It does not mean you have to suffer for the rest of your life. You have the power to choose otherwise. So we need to stop the cycle of the cause and effect. Break the bad habits. Start recognizing your own toxicity. Take your power back and stop blaming others and stop making excuses. Start becoming aware of your self-negativity. Your past experiences aren't going to change, and your past experiences aren't making your life decisions now. You are. And you can try to tell me all these excuses and make more excuses and tell me, well, you don't understand. I do understand. It's you who doesn't understand that you have the power to choose. You just have to wake up and stop making excuses. Because in the end, it's always going to come back to who's to blame? Yourself. Victims blame. Victims make excuses. Victims give up due to blame and excuses. So we need to shift your mentality to survivor mentality, because survivor mentalities take responsibility. Survivors use their bad experiences as fuel, because the more scars you have, the thicker your skin, which makes you stronger. I loved watching those videos on I think it was the Discovery Channel, and I think it's called like I Survived, and it was always about like these people who survived like a really brutal animal attack where they lived but only by like a miracle. And the majority of the people who told the stories always had a survivor mentality. They were always so grateful to be alive, and they all took responsibility for their actions. Usually if it was like a trainer who was training an animal, they would always be like, yeah, it was my fault. I didn't read the signs of the animal that day. But when I went back and looked at the video, I saw how agitated the animal was already, and I just ignored all the signs. Or they would say, hey, I moved a specific way that the animal wasn't used to. Or some people would be like, I was in their territory, but they never blamed the animal. They always took the blame. They always said, it was my fault. I did this. It was my decision. It wasn't the animal, because the animal is just going to act like an animal. They were always so grateful. And they were like, this experience has made me so much stronger and made me realize how much life has to offer and how beautiful life is. It usually changed their whole perspective on life. And now they learn from their mistakes. A lot of the trainers, they always went back to training the same animal. And they were always like, now I have learned from my mistakes, and I've learned to start looking for the signs to see if the animal is agitated or if I'm making a wrong move. I never went to go seek revenge or kill the animal that hurt them. That wouldn't do anything for them. Anyways, these shows always made me realize that, like, you don't have to live being in the victim mentality. And some of these people, they lost limbs and they lost arms, or they had to go through reconstructive surgery on their faces, or there's always something, but they continue to live their life as strong as possible. Some of them are like missing limbs and they're running marathons and everything like that. It's so incredible to see, because they use that past experience as fuel and say that I'm not going to let that past experience keep me from attaining everything I still want in life. If you haven't seen those shows, you should definitely watch shows like that, because they're very inspiring. So this brings me to step number 2. Forgive people who have hurt you in your past. I've made a whole YouTube video on this, so you can check that out and I'll link it down below. Forgiveness creates healing, and healing helps you let go of those pasts. It helps you let go of the pain and the suffering so that you can shift into survivor mentality. It's hard to forgive. You don't need to forget your past experience, but you do need to forgive and move forward, because that's the only thing that's going to help you move forward, is to let go. And forgiveness is the key. Forgiveness is a huge key. Survivors will always let go of pain because they know it's going to hinder them from moving forward. So that brings me to step number 3, letting go of past trauma. Stop dwelling in the past. What makes the past hurt so much is reliving it over and over and over and over. Stop doing that to yourself. Stop reliving the horror. It was awful the first time. Why do you have to keep replaying it in your head? And if you aren't playing it and you're having nightmares, then you need to seek medical attention. You need to find a therapist. You need to find a counselor. There are so many resources out there. It's 2023. There's no reason why you should be living in PTSD when you have unlimited resources. And if you don't have money, there are still ways. Self-help books. There's so many videos on YouTube, podcasts, essays, research, and they even have a new thing called BetterHelp. And this video is not sponsored by them. They have programs where you can seek help if you are suffering and don't know where to turn, because you need to let go of that trauma. You need to let go so that you can start living a more beautiful and peaceful life that you deserve. So there are really no more excuses. You have to make the choice though. Only you can make it. Only you can tell yourself that you're ready to move forward. Realize that the past is the past and you can't change it. But what you can do is heal and grow and learn. Your scars are what make you you, but your scars do not define you. Whoa, that was actually really good. I'm gonna repeat that because you need to hear this. Your scars are what make you you, but your scars do not define you. Just because you had a horrible past does not mean that you are worthy of a horrible life. You should not need to live in pain and suffering. I am sorry that those past experiences happened to you. I understand, because they happened to me too. But we do not need to live in pain and suffering anymore. We can move forward. We can move forward. We just need to shift our mentality to survivor mentality. You have the power to choose. So choose to heal and let go of trauma. It's not easy, but it is worth it. It's worth not crying yourself to sleep every single night. It's worth stopping all those unwanted life circumstances. It is worth it. I have not had an accident in so long in my car because I've learned to change my thoughts and my feelings, shift my mentality. Survivors use the past to fuel their future. Just remember that. Number 4, get familiar with change. Change is uncomfortable. Change is always uncomfortable, even for the smallest little things. I'm gonna give you an example, and it's a really cheesy example, but I think it's a great example. So I had a Mini Cooper, and I love this Mini Cooper. Oh my gosh. I was so excited. It was the first good thing I had in a very long time, like nice thing. Like I always had like really beat up cars. And when I got this Mini Cooper, I was so happy. I was so excited, right? And it had like automatic lights. So like once it would turn night, the lights would turn on by themselves. And automatic like, what are these called? The windshield wipers. It had automatic windshield wipers. So like if the rain got faster, it would go faster with the rain. Like I didn't have to touch it. I just have to turn, like I would have to turn on the windshield wiper, but it would like determine the speed on its own. And with the lights, I never had to turn the lights on. But it was short-lived because I only had this Mini Cooper for a year because I had parked it outside a friend's house. And when I woke up the next morning, somebody had crashed into it with their F-250 and pushed it 800 feet. Pushed it 800 feet. I wasn't even in the car, y'all. This is how I attracted so many bad life experiences, right? I wasn't even in the car when this accident happened. So the guy hit it, F-250, and pushed it 800 feet. And completely totaled my Mini Cooper. Completely totaled it. I had only had it for a year. And the reason I know it was an F-250 is because this person was nice enough to at least leave a note. And their insurance paid for it and everything like that. So I did at least get a silver lining on that. So when I got my new car, right, I still have this car. It's a Jeep Renegade. And I love my Jeep Renegade now. It's an amazing, I even named him, his name is Nigel. Anyways, when I got this Jeep Renegade, the lights, like the little switch, it wasn't automatic. I had to turn it on myself. And the windshield wipers aren't automatic. I have to adjust the speed myself. I don't really care about the windshield wipers. I was a little bit annoyed about the lights, right? Because I would always forget to turn the lights on and it would make me so mad. I'd be like, oh, no, like I'd get so mad that I'd turn the damn lights on every time. And sometimes I would forget. I'd just completely forget to turn these damn lights on and people would be flashing me. I'd be like, oh, and I'd get annoyed that people were flashing me. You know what I mean? But this is what I'm saying. It's like, it's a change. It's change. Change is uncomfortable. Change is annoying, right? I had to learn how to turn on something small, but I started doing it every single day and it started becoming a habit. So then now I don't even think about it. But in the beginning, it annoyed me the change, I had to be consciously aware to turn on my lights. After a while, with the habit of doing it so often, I don't even think about it anymore. And that's the same concept. Anything we do, when you've lived your life a specific way for such a long time, it is gonna be very uncomfortable to start changing it. And sometimes it can create even more fears and more emotions that you're getting overwhelmed with. Because I know when I first started my personal growth journey, it was a roller coaster of emotions because becoming aware of your thoughts and your feelings and all this stuff starts to really make you think like, whoa, what am I gonna attract next? And then you start over analyzing and overthinking and you're like, oh my God, I am a monster, right? No, but you have to stop. You can't think that way. You can't think this way. Everybody, and I'm telling you, every single person who is going through a personal development journey, spiritual journey, whatever you want to call it, they are all experiencing this. They're all experiencing the roller coaster of emotion effect. So don't just think it's you. You just have to start becoming familiar with change and its uncomfortable tendencies. Is that a good way to say it? A good way to explain it? You're just gonna have to get used to being uncomfortable because change is all about new challenges and facing your fears head on, which is scary. It's so scary, right? But you have to just get familiar and make friends with change because that's the only way that you're gonna change your life. And this brings me to number 5. Don't give up. Do not give up on yourself. I know change is scary and I know change is hard and I know change can fuel more emotions in you, but you can't give up. You have to stay consistent. You have to keep going. You have to realize that it's worth it in the end. And every time you think you're going to give up, you have to remember why you started. Remember why you started. I listened to this one motivational speech and every day he's like, when you feel like quitting, when you feel like giving up, remember why you started. He has an accent. I'm horrible with accents. I don't even know what accent it is, but he's yelling this at me. And it's true though. Remember why you started in the first place. When you're on the verge of giving up, remember why you started. Do not give up on yourself. Personal growth, it is uncomfortable and it's scary, but I promise you, anything that you start doing and creating better habits for, it gets easier. It gets easier. It's so much easier, just like with me with the light. Now I don't even think about it. Even positive thinking. Sometimes now I think a little bit more positively and I don't even think about it. I'm like, oh, okay, it takes about 21 days to create a new habit, but you have to stay consistent. So don't give up. Don't give up. Victims give up. Survivors use everything as fuel to keep going. Survivors always get back up. Always. No matter how many times they fall, they're going to get right back up. Victims don't. Victims make excuses as to why they can't get up, why they can't go on. Leave the victim mentality behind and go and be the hero, be the survivor, because you deserve it. You deserve a great life. Think about this. Why don't you deserve a good life? If you can experience pain, why can't you experience love? Just keep going and don't give up. If something doesn't work, find a different path. Just don't ever give up. And lastly, sorry, this video is long. And lastly, practice gratitude. Be grateful that you're here on earth and you can make all these decisions and that you are still standing, that you're able to stand on your 2 feet and be like, I've made it. I have conquered so much. I am so much stronger. Use all that bad negativity. Use it as character building. Use it as fuel to make you a stronger person. Start counting your blessings, all the things you do have. Start realizing all the great things in your life, because I know you have great things in your life. Look at all the resources we have. Food, water that we're able to get on a whim's notice. You literally can go outside with your car. And if you don't have a car, I'm sure you can walk a few miles and you can find a restaurant to eat at. Food at your disposal at whenever you want it. Shelter. Be grateful that you have somewhere to sleep at night. Your health. If you're a healthy person, be grateful for it, because some people don't have it. So use it. Use it to create a better life for yourself. Your phone. Oh my God, everyone has a phone. Everyone has a phone, even kids have a phone. It gives you so many resources. You have so many resources at your fingertips. So many. How incredible is that? Just think about how incredible it is to go on the internet and research anything you'd like, anything you have a question about. Boom, boom. In a second, you have the answer. It is incredible. When you count your blessings, you start being so happy to be alive. It gives you so much power. It brings you so much power. You start realizing that you have so much more than you ever knew. Survivors thrive. Survivors will always thrive. Be grateful that you have gotten past what you have gotten past. You survived those challenges, and now you're going to survive new challenges. Just remember that. So stop living in victim mentality. And just because I tell you to take fault for your actions doesn't mean I want you to falling victim and blaming yourself for every single thing that has gone wrong in your life and falling into victim mentality that way. There's a balance. Take accountability for your actions and your behaviors, but also learn to be kinder to yourself and forgive yourself for all those mistakes as well. Move forward. You get what you put out. The energy you put out is the energy you get back. So why not put out good in the world? Especially if you've had so much bad happen to you, why would you want anybody else to experience that? Why? No, we don't. We want only good. So we're going to put all the good out and we're going to change our life and we're going to shift our mentality from victim to survivor. And that's the only way. That's the only way. Those 6 steps. Take accountability for your actions. Forgive people who hurt you. Let go of past trauma. Get familiar with change. Don't give up. Don't do it. And practice gratitude. I feel like that's a lot of steps. But you know what? They're worth it. They're absolutely worth it. I promise you. I promise you they're worth it. 6 steps to shift your mentality from victim to survivor. You just got to put in the work. I promise you can do it. I promise you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Also, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to DM me on my Instagram at @thealignedlion and subscribe to my channel because that'll really help my channel grow and we could spread the word out for more love for everyone else. And just remember, your scars are what make you who you are, but your scars do not define you. Okay? So let's become the hero of our own story. All right, guys. I love you so much. You have a beautiful day. Bye, my lions.